In this part of the course, we're going to talk about the sequence of interviews. You think you do a whole bunch of different types of interviews and that there's really not a plan or a process behind it, but actually there is. There's a sequence that interview processes go through. Now, sometimes people jump ahead in the process, the interviewers themselves, or they combine different parts of the sequences, but you'd be surprised that you're going to really touch on almost all these different things. And there's 7 different parts of the sequence of interviews, and we're going to look at each one in great detail in this section of the course. But as far as a quick overview, you start off with like screening interviews. This is just a quick interview where they're really just seeing if you've got the basic job qualifications to move forward. It's really just kind of winnowing down the field and getting a smaller field to then move on to more face-to-face or other types of interviews. Then you have qualifying and technical interviews, and sometimes those are separate, but a lot of times those are combined together where they're looking at things around, do you have the qualifications for the course in more depth, or do you have the technical ability as well to actually do the job? Next, you have the approval interviews. Maybe you've made it through all these first 3. Now somebody's got to prove it. That might be a boss's boss who's looking at you and having a short or maybe a long interview to say, yes, this has been one of the top 3 recommended candidates, and I'm going to approve this person or not approve this person. Once you get through that, then you can have a whole interview just around fit. They like you, they maybe like other candidates, and now that's all focused on how do you fit with the team, how do you fit with the organization, and really dive into that. Sometimes you have those, sometimes they're built into other interviews, but it's really a whole section on fit. Lastly, the last 2 sections are looking at psychological interviews. Sometimes companies have this, sometimes not. Sometimes companies actually bring in an actual psychologist to sit down and talk with you, and they spend quite a bit of money to do that. Most times in how the industry has gone is you might do a personality or psychological test, and that'll spit out some things that talk a little bit about you and your personality type. So it's different than like a job test or an online job test. It's really about personality and values. Many organizations also actually move that to the front as part of the screening process where they'll have people do these psychological tests and then winnow out people from there. It's really not a great practice. It could lead to discrimination, but you understand that sometimes they move that towards the front. And then lastly is a blessing part, which is really at the end where just there might be a last question or a last thing to probe into, and now they're ready to either decide to hire you or give you a job offer or not. There's a blessing aspect of that. So understand there's a sequence of interviews. Sometimes they move around a little bit, but you're going to go through all these phases. Sometimes some parts of it might be faster than others, but you'll go through all these phases. Okay, so in this section, now let's dive into each one of these phases in more detail and how to handle that phase.